Human and divine love. The phenomenon of which you speak is normal to human nature. People are drawn together, or one is drawn to another by a certain feeling of affinity, of agreement, or of attraction between some parts of one's own nature and some part of the other's nature. At first, this only is felt. One sees all that is good or pleasant to one in the other's nature, and even attributes, perhaps qualities to him that are not there or not so much there as one thinks. But with close acquaintance, other part of the nature are felt with which one is not in affinity. Perhaps there is a clash of ideas or opposition of feelings or conflict of two egos. If there is a strong love or friendship of a lasting character, then one may overcome these difficulties of contact and arrive at a harmonizing or accommodation. But very often this is not there, or the disagreement is so acute as to counteract the tendency of accommodation, or else the ego gets so hurt as to recoil. Then it is quite possible for one to begin to see too much and exaggerate the faults of the other, or to attribute things to him of a bad or unpleasant character that are not there. The whole view can change, the good feeling change into ill feeling, alienation, even enmity or antipathy. This is always happening in human life. The opposite also happens, but less easily. That is the change from ill feeling to good feeling, from opposition to harmony. But of course, ill opinion or ill feeling towards a person need not arise from this cause alone. It happens from many causes: instinctive dislike, jealousy, conflicting interests, etc. One must try to look calmly on others, not overstress either virtues or defects, without ill feeling or misunderstanding or injustice, with a calm mind and vision. All that, of course, is not love, but self-love. Jealousy is only an ugly form of self-love. That is what people do not understand. They even think that demands and jealousy and wounded vanity are signs of love, or at least natural attendants of it. There are a number of women who can love with the mind, the psychic, the vital heart, but they shrink from a touch on the body, and even when that goes, the physical act remains abhorrent to them. They may yield under pressure, but it does not reconcile them to act which always seemed to them animal and degrading. Woman knows this, but men seem to find it hard to believe. But it is perfectly true. Abnormal is a word which you can stick on anything that is not quite cheap and ordinary. In that way, genius is abnormal. So is spirituality. So is the attempt to live by high ideals. The tendency to physical chastity in women is not abnormal. It is fairly common and includes a very high feminine type. The mind is the seat of thought and perception. The heart is the seat of love, the vital of desire. But how does that prevent the existence of mental love? As the mind can be invaded by the feelings of the emotional or the vital, so the heart too can be dominated by the mind and moved by mental forces. There is a vital love, a physical love. It is possible for the vital to desire a woman for various vital reasons without love, in order to satisfy the instinct of domination or possession, in order to draw in the vital forces of a woman so as to feed one's own vital, for the exchange of vital forces to satisfy vanity, the hunter's instinct of the chase, etc., etc. This is from man's viewpoint, but the woman also has her vital motives. This is often called love, but it is only vital desire, a kind of lust. If, however, the emotions of the heart are awakened, then it becomes vital love. A mixed affair with any or all of these vital motives, strong but still vital love. There may too be a physical love, the attraction of body, the physical sex appeal, or anything else of the kind awakening the emotions of the heart. If that does not happen, then the physical need is all, and that is sheer lust, nothing more. But physical love is possible. In the same way, there can be a mental love. It arises from the attempt to find one's ideal in another, or from some strong mental passion of admiration and wonder, or from the mind seeking for a comrade, a complement, and fulfiller of one's nature, a sahadharmi, a guide and helper, a leader and master, or from 100 other mental motives. By itself, that does not amount to love, though often it is so ardent as to be hardly distinguishable from it, and may even push to sacrifice of life, entire self-giving, etc., etc. But when it awakes the emotions of the heart, then it may lead to a powerful love which is yet mental in its root and dominant character. Ordinarily, however, it is the mind and the vital together which combine, but this combination can exist only with a disinclination or positive dislike for the physical act and its accompaniments. No doubt, if the man presses, the woman is likely to yield, but it is counterquarter, so they say, against her feelings and their deepest instincts. It is an ignorant psychology that reduces everything to the sex motive and the sex impulse. It is certainly easier to have friendship between man and man or between woman and woman than between man and woman, because there the sexual intrusion is normally absent. In a friendship between man and woman, the sexual turn can at any moment come in a subtle or in a direct way and produce perturbations. But there is no impossibility of friendship between man and woman pure of this element. Such friendships can exist and have always existed. All that is needed is the lower vital should not look in at the back door or be permitted to enter. There is often a harmony because a masculine and a feminine nature, an attraction or art affinity which rests on something other than any open or covered lower vital sexual basis. It depends sometimes predominantly on the mental or the psychic or on the higher vital, sometimes on a mixture of these for its substance. In such a case, friendship is natural and there is little chance of other elements coming in to pull it downwards or break it. It is always a mistake to think that the vital alone has warmth and the psychic is something frigid without any flame in its clear, limpid goodwill is a very good and desirable thing. But this is not what is meant by psychic love. Love is love and not merely goodwill. Psychic love can have a warmth and a flame as intense and more intense than the vital. Only it is a pure fire, not dependent on the satisfaction of the ego desire or on the eating up of the fuel it embraces. It is a white flame, not a red one, but white heat is not inferior to the red variety in its ardor. It is true that the psychic love does not usually get its full play in human relations and human nature. It finds the fullness of its fire and ecstasy more easily when it is lifted towards the divine. In the human relation, the psychic love gets mixed up with the other elements which seek at once to use it and overshadow it. It gets an outlet for its own full intensities only at rare moments. Otherwise, it comes in only as an element, but even so, it contributes all the higher things in a love fundamentally vital. All the finer sweetnesses, tenderness, fidelity, self giving, self sacrifice, reachings of soul to soul, idealizing sublimations that lift up human love beyond itself come from the psychic. If it could dominate and govern and transmute the other elements, mental, vital, physical, of human love, then love could be on the earth some reflection or preparation of the real thing, an integral union of the soul and its instruments in a dual life. But even some imperfect appearance of that is rare. Our view is that the normal thing is in yoga for the entire flame of the nature to turn towards the divine, and the rest must wait for the true basis to build higher things on the sand and mire of the ordinary consciousness is not safe. That does not necessarily exclude friendships or comradeships, but these must be subordinate altogether central fire. If anyone makes meanwhile the relation with the divine his one observing aim, that is quite natural and gives the full force to the sadhana. Psychic love finds itself wholly when it is the radiation of the diviner consciousness for which we are seeking. Till then, it is difficult for it to put out its undimmed integral self and figure.